in the realm of this area of my life called buying stuff, I just took one little step to try to be more other-centered in how I do that activity called buying stuff. In this one little area of my life, I'm practicing love of neighbor a little teeny bit better. See, and I think that's, I mean, hello, folks, that's what it's all about. Loving God and loving your neighbor. That's what it all boils down to. So, anyway, look at the resource sheet. Think about some of these things, and maybe just pick an area, one area, 2 areas of your life where you actually are willing to take 2 hours of your time, go on the internet, read some stuff, sign up for some of these magazines, educate yourself a little bit, and start to just make little changes. All right? Much more quickly now, we can also, not only about buying stuff, but what about sort of the realm of our savings? One of the things that you'll learn about if you take the Crown Ministry type class is, or if you have a financial advisor, you'll kind of learn about diversifying your saving and your investments, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. We've heard this sort of proverbial wisdom. Well, many of us have sort of an area in our financial stewardship that we call savings, and I'm distinguishing saving from investing, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. So in the area of savings, what we're kind of talking about are what I would call low risk, low return kinds of things. So we have savings accounts. They get maybe 2% interest at our local bank or credit union. We have money market accounts, maybe a money market checkbook. So we get like 1%, interest on our checkbook. We buy CDs. We buy 1 year or 24-month CDs. They're only going to make 4% interest or whatever. We put $2,000 into it. So what we're doing in this particular, sort of have your whole investment spectrum. There's this slice of it that we would call sort of low risk, low return kinds of things, and what I'm just calling saving. All right. Well, did you know that you could actually make some very easy choices, take you very little time, that would actually move you to being a little bit more other-centered, because you could choose to do that area that you're probably going to do anyway. You're probably going to have a money market sometime in your life. You're probably going to have a savings account sometime in your life. You're probably going to buy a few CDs where all you're trying to do is kind of protect your principal. You're not looking for a 10% return in this part of your portfolio. You're just looking for protection of saving, protection of your principal, and maybe making a couple percent interest. That's all your goal is. Well, what I'm saying is, with a little bit of research, you could actually do that and invest in local community development, because you could get your CDs from a place like Shore Bank. You could buy something called a community investment note from a place called the Calvert Foundation, where you spend $1,000. You can pick your interest rate from 0 to 3%, and then there's 5 areas where I buy 1,000, you buy 1,000, you buy 1,000, you buy 1,000. There's all this money's piling up somewhere, right? Well, from that pool of money, now what they're doing with it is they're supporting 5 different areas: microfinance, community development, environmental stuff, and you get to pick which fund you want to kind of support or whatever. So, and your money's totally safe. You're not going to lose your principal. You're still going to get 1, 2, 3% interest back. There are these various vehicles and investments. So check these things out. Even just making the decision to put your savings account at a local credit union can be a better decision than putting it at a local bank. Now, that's a bit of an over-stereotype thing. Sorry for all you people that work at banks. Some of your banks, I'm sure, are really great. But in general, typically community credit unions are a little bit more, they have on their radar screen using the deposits that come in to make loans that go out for mortgages and small business development and things that are sort of benefiting community development right there in your own community. So go online, check out a few of these sorts of things. I've given you some websites and that sort of thing for what you can do. Okay, in terms of investing, and I am wrapping it up. I know I'm a little bit over. There are now various mutual funds and investment vehicles that are out there that are value driven. So, for example, there's a fund on your sheet called the Aquinas Fund. There's a fund called the Ave Maria Fund. There's funds that have been started by people saying, hey, we're Catholic and we really take Catholic social teaching about fairness, about labor fairness, about treating people with human dignity, about not having abortion. And we're going to support companies that don't have policies that violate these things. There's a very conservative fund, conservative in the sense that it's called the Timothy Fund, and they don't invest in any companies that have anything to do with pornography or gambling or abortion. If you're a pacifist, you might want to put your money in this thing called the Mennonite Mutual Aid Society. They don't invest in any companies that make anything to do with war or weapons or whatever. So you can choose, as you think about making investments in the stock market, there are lots of opportunities now for you to learn about places where you could put your money into companies that at least aren't doing the bad things that you want them to avoid doing. And there's a wide range. I mean, you can be very liberal and you can say, wow, I just want to put my money here and this that's championing this agenda, or you can put it in. I mean, we really have a lot of choices now. This whole socially responsible investing has gotten to be a really big thing. And I've given you a couple of places. You can go to the Biblically Responsible Investing Institute there. And then finally, with regard to our giving, I just want you to turn over your sheet. We don't have a lot of time, but on the back, Deuteronomy 26, and we're not going to take the time to do this, but maybe it's something you could do at home or with your small group. The main thing I just want you to think about, and I'll leave you with this point, and then we'll have our time with Ken and me, and that is, again, to be more other-centered. Let's think about not only the charge to give, but how we give. The Bible clearly says we ought to give. That we should give is kind of a no-brainer. But the issue is, how do we give? And what is the attitude of our heart when we give? And Deuteronomy 26, 1 through 15 is a lovely passage I wish we had time to talk more about, because it's a lovely passage in which God sets up very interesting sort of protocols about the process of giving, of the offering of the first fruits. You're to bring it to the priest. It's to be the special offering that you've set aside. There's a certain mantra that you are to articulate as you make your gift, where you basically say, I was once a wandering Aramaean in the desert. God brought me out through the Exodus, and now I'm giving this gift. This particular gift, by the way, is for the alien, the poor, the widow, and the orphan. So a lot of what Deuteronomy 26 is trying to say is not only that you should give. We have this rule in the Old Testament about giving of first fruits and what was known as the third-year tithe. But the Bible doesn't teach us just that we should give, but we ought to give in a certain way. We ought to give with a certain attitude. We ought to give from a certain heart. And what Deuteronomy 26 is saying, essentially, is give without the attitude of us-them dichotomies. Give with the attitude, yes, I'm helping the poor through this giving, but while I'm giving it, I'm reciting my own history. I once was an alien and a stranger. I once was a wandering Aramaean in the desert. So it's not, wow, I've got all this money, aren't I being a great person because you're poor and now I'm giving it to you. Not only that we give to our neighbor and express love of neighbor to them that way, but how we give to our neighbor with humility, with a recognition that they're really not so different from us.
This has been a presentation of the Richmond Center for Christian Study. If you would like to obtain more information about the Study Center, or if you would like to support the Center, please visit us on the web at richmondstudycenter.org. We trust that this and future presentations of the Study Center will be used of God to bring gospel transformation to every area of your life and to the culture we live in.